Hey, welcome to UGA Sports Live. My name is Roddy DeBulsey. I am joined by Jim Dunn and Dane Young and some nerdy guy.
I'm right next to you. How do I not get first dibs on intros?
Because you're eating my hush puppies.
Of course, Champ should be a slam dunk, just like David Pollock was last year. Really excited for him. I got to text him right away, and he was excited. And guy deserves it. I mean, not many guys can say that they played both ways like he did. He really had more stats than Woodson, who won the Heisman Trophy. He had more stats, offense, defense, and everything.
So you're basically saying he was robbed of the Heisman Trophy.
I don't know that he was robbed. I just don't think we ever promoted him. It was, I mean, it never got to the point where his name was up there like Woodson's was, particularly the next year, because, he had a big year in 98 too. But, it was all between Woodson and Peyton in 97. So not much you can say about being robbed.
Our guy, Dave McMahon over here with the stat, Champ 7th in Heisman voting in 1998. But he didn't take that home. He did take home the Bronco Nagurski Award for the nation's best defensive player. So not exactly a bad year for him.
The best Champ story as far as reps was a game we played over at Auburn in the fog over there that night.
Oh.
And we ended up beating them. And Champ played over 120. I'm not sure exactly how many snaps it was, but he was thoroughly pissed when we took him out. He wanted to know why he wasn't back in. I said, Champ, you got to rest a little bit.
Last of a dying breed. I mean, nobody does that anymore, and I don't think
nobody can.
I don't think you'll see anybody do it again. It's going to be very rare.
Probably the best two-way player, in my opinion, in the modern day era is Champ Bailey. I mean, back in the old days, you had guys who played both ways, and that was just part of the way you did things. But Champ just got the perfect name. I mean, he's a champ.
We got a lot of questions. This one's a good one here for the coach. JBF 94 on the board. He says, how would you compare Arian Smith to Mecole Hardman?
Mecole was the best athlete at his school over at Elberton, and so he played quarterback, and he had good ball skills, but he had to learn how to catch the ball and develop as a receiver. Here, I think Arian's got a little advantage on that, and the fact that he's an all-around athlete and has some ball skills catching the ball coming in, whether he'll develop and be as explosive once he catches the ball as Mecole was because of his quickness and speed and change of direction. But we hadn't had anybody here with this guy's kind of speed, I don't think, as far as pure flat out speed, except that kid on the track team that was on the relay team with him there and the USA team.
You're talking about some freak speed, but I'll tell you, Kearis Jackson might be just a tick slower than those guys. He's the last one I'd want to square up with to have to tackle. He will just run right through you.
I think that Arian's more of a natural sprinter speed guy, whereas Mecole kind of grew up doing everything. So Mecole had the wider range of experience, but Arian's a little more dialed in. I think Mecole's maybe the overall better football player, but Arian might be the better wide receiver.
Roddy, you make a good point with the specialist versus well-roundedness. Like when I covered Terry Godwin in high school, he would just get bored and walk over and be the goalie on the soccer team just because he was that good of an athlete and he could pop out there and do that in practice. And then he would go play basketball and he played baseball. And so at some schools you have guys that literally do everything and they do it really well. But in some places, especially I think the more that we do this going forward, there's going to be specialists that don't get as much attention because they're not as visible in as many places.
Who gets more carries this season? You think Kenny McIntosh or Kendall Milton?
Man, I'm high on McIntosh. I thought he was such a highlight performer in the bowl game, and Zamir White got some of the dirty yards up the middle, but McIntosh is just smooth. So I'm going to go with Kenny.
I'm giving Kenny the edge because I think Kenny feels maybe he's got a little chip on his shoulder.
I'm sure Kendall does too.
Well, no, but here's the thing though. Kenny was not a 5-star kid coming out. He wasn't getting all that press. You think James Cook, you think Zamir White, you think Kendall Milton. The people are not talking about Kenny McIntosh like they should. I think Kenny McIntosh goes on a tour this year and really makes some people remember his name.
I like Kendall. I think he's got it hurt him not having spring practice just like anybody, but he's a very knowledgeable guy, and But Kenny is smooth as a baby's ass.